Okay, well, welcome again, everyone, for Medicare Basics with Community Legal Aid SoCal. My name is Rachel Smythe. I'm the Education and Outreach Supervisor at the Caregiver Resource Center, Orange County. And again, before I turn it over to our presenter, Joan, I'm going to go ahead and just share a little bit about Caregiver Resource Center OC and what it is that we do in the community. So the history of Caregiver Resource Center Orange County is we are a nonprofit program that's been serving the county since 1988, and our host agency is St. Jude Medical Center. But in order to receive services with us or to attend any of our programs, you do not have to be affiliated with any particular insurance group or medical center. They are our host agency though, but we do serve the entire County of Orange. In addition to that, we are one of 11 caregiver resource centers throughout the state of California. So there is a CRC for every single county throughout the state. So sometimes we have people who join us from outside of Orange County or even outside of California. If you are in the state, but not from Orange County, there is a CRC for you, and we can go ahead and send out any information that's needed regarding what those other organizations are and where you can get connected. We are a grant-funded program, and we receive our funding through the Federal Older Americans Act and the Family Caregiver Support Program. And CRC is a trusted partner for Orange County families who are coping with the physical, emotional, and financial responsibilities of caregiving. If you are not a caregiver and you joined the call this afternoon, that is absolutely okay. This class is for anyone who's interested in learning about Medicare, whether you're caregiving or not. And so we're just glad that you're here with us this afternoon. Our mission at Caregiver Resource Center is to increase the quality of life of caregivers by helping families and communities master the challenges of caregiving. At some point, all of us will be impacted by caregiving, whether we will need a caregiver, whether we will be a caregiver. So it's really important that we learn a little bit more about how to help support caregivers and what resources are available. If somebody does want to get connected with CRC OC for ongoing support and ongoing case management, just you as a caregiver and your loved one both need to reside in Orange County. And we define a caregiver as someone who's an adult and they're caring for someone who's over age 60 and needs help with daily tasks. Or if you are caring for someone who's under 60, they would need to have an adult onset cognitive issue, maybe early onset Alzheimer's or a traumatic brain injury, ALS or MS. And I always say, if you're not sure, just give us a call. And even if you're not a caregiver, you can call us for resources or support. Or if you work with family caregivers or you know someone, please just feel free to give us a call. We are a resource center, as the name indicates. And so we're here to help however we can when it comes to anything related to caregiving. Here's our main 6 areas of services that we provide. We offer caregiver support groups in person, online, and telephonic in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And we have a lot of unique support groups, an art group, transitions group. What else do we have? I'm trying to think. We have a young caregiver group. We've got all sorts of different things going on for you to get connected with. We also offer caregiver assessment and care planning, assistance with looking at the future and seeing what the next steps are in a caregiving journey. And then we also offer education and training, including legal workshops and classes like you've joined us for this afternoon. We also provide individual counseling, one-on-one support with master's level clinicians or licensed individuals. And then again, specialized information related to caregiving. Anyone can call us for information and referral. And then our most popular, most often requested, and very needed service is respite assistance, where we provide grants so that family caregivers can take a break. And we cover the cost of that respite. Here is something we all like to remind everyone who joins our support groups, our classes, anything that we do in the community is this 50 ways to take a break. Oftentimes we forget about ourselves, and so it's really important that we take a little bit of time to do something to take care of ourselves. Well, one of our phrases around here is caregiving includes caring for me. And so here are some easy ways to take care of yourself, things like buying some flowers, writing a letter, listening to guided relaxation, all sorts of great things that you can do. And then just a reminder, we are located as part of St. Jude Community Services programs in the city of Fullerton. You're welcome to give us a call or visit our website, and I will go ahead and I'll type that information in the chat so that you have that. But with that, again, you've joined us for Medicare Basics. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Please feel free to write any questions that you have in the chat or anything that comes up or any thoughts as we go along. And with that, I will go ahead and I'll turn it over to our presenter this afternoon, Joan Chang, who is a senior attorney with Community Legal Aid SoCal. And Joan is an incredible presenter, and we're so lucky that you've joined us a couple times, Joan, and we've got a couple other classes scheduled. And so we're really looking forward to all the really great information that you've continued to share so freely with us. And so thank you again for being here, and I will go ahead and stop sharing.
Thank you, Rachel. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I hope to make this a bit more interactive. I know y'all attend some of these trainings, and I want to make sure you guys get the information and get it in a way that you will remember. If you take away even one thing from this presentation, I've done my job. I'm not expecting everyone to like memorize every single slide and everything. These slides will be available to you afterwards, and Rachel did say that the training will be recorded, so it's going to be there for you. But you know, if you take away one thing, I've done my job. Okay, all right, let's do this. Bear with me here. Okay, can I get a verbal? Yes, I can see this Medicare basic slide.
I am not able to see your slides yet.
Oh, okay, Boop. Let's see.
There we go. It looks like it's starting to load. Perfect. I can see.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, and then can y'all see this red? Let's see, the red pen. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'm going to do an introduction into our organization, then dive into Medicare basics. An introduction to who we are. This is our mission statement, but again, I like to show off this mural. This is the mural on the back of our Santa Ana office in our parking lot. Not a lot of folks get to see it, so I like to show it off when I can, especially at our virtual outreach presentations. I like to brag about it because a lot of our staff contributed to the mural. Physical offices, we serve all of Orange County and Southeast LA County. Our physical offices in Orange County are in Santa Ana and Anaheim, and in Southeast LA County, Compton and Norwalk. These are our different units or departments, or what we call practice areas for attorneys. When you call our office or do an online intake, you're going through our intake and assessment unit first. Think of them as like the triage when you get to a hospital. They're the ones who are kind of figuring out what legal needs you have and who to refer you over to and which department. I'm specifically in the health unit, and we're going to talk about, again, health. That includes Medicare. I wanted to highlight some of our case management unit. We do have 3 social workers on staff to be able to provide assistance beyond legal needs, something perhaps that an attorney and paralegal can't help with, but a case manager can. We do have workshops and clinics. So usually these workshops and clinics are in like a group setting. So you're not necessarily, well, sometimes, but not necessarily getting like one-on-one, representation, but we do these in a group setting so we could help and maximize our assistance to folks. Our services are free. We're a nonprofit law office. We don't charge for our services. We do have an income and asset limit for our other services, but for our health unit services and our seniors, which is 60 plus, if you are 60 years and older, no matter how high your income is or no matter how high your assets are, we're still going to be able to assist you if you are an Orange County resident. Okay, let's dive into what we specifically do in the health unit. We serve a pretty diverse group of folks, a really wide spectrum. In terms of age, my oldest client was 100, gosh, I keep forgetting if it's 101 or 103. But I had a client who was quite, quite functional and savvy. I didn't have to communicate with a caregiver or a family member. He was actually quite with it and was able to sign documents, send them back to me, and really advocate for himself as well. My youngest clients, I've had, pregnant moms who have called with, while they were pregnant. And so, my earliest clients were, in utero and perhaps not born yet. But yes, so in terms of our clients and their ages, it's a wide range. We do assist folks with chronic conditions or disabilities, or healthy folks. We've had folks who are just calling saying, hey, I don't have health insurance. Are there programs out there that I can be eligible for? And we can screen them for various programs. We do assist folks who are on the spectrum and parents of those with children with autism, kind of for our former autism clients, we've assisted them in regaining like speech therapy hours, ABA behavioral health therapy hours, and we'll talk about this in a moment, but assisting a minor nonverbal child in getting a speech generating device. It's kind of like an iPad that was able to help him communicate with his family and his friends and his teachers. So we serve a pretty wide spectrum of folks. In the health unit, we're, primarily most of our clients are Medi-Cal eligible, so low income individuals, but we do assist with Medicare, and that's what we're going to cover today. Covered California, dental issues, IHSS, the in-home supportive services program, and private health insurance. So if you have like an employer-sponsored plan or an off-exchange plan, we can also assist with private insurance issues. Okay, I like to think of these as kind of the buckets that we help in. Eligibility. Eligibility refers to, applying for or getting terminated from a health insurance program. So that might include Medi-Cal, Medicare, or Covered California. There's a lot of things that can go on with your eligibility in these areas. And so hopefully we're able to provide some assistance in eligibility. Once you have coverage, so once you have the Medi-Cal, the Medicare, the Covered California, or a private insurance plan, what sort of barriers you might face in accessing your insurance coverage. So things like being denied care or having delays in your care, or does your health plan have adequate network of doctors? Say, for example, you have a really rare condition and your health plan's doctors don't treat that medical condition, making sure you have access to the experts and folks who can actually treat your condition. We do at times represent you at a hearing. That could be a Medi-Cal hearing, an IHSS hearing, or a Medicare hearing if needed. And then medical billing, that includes not only medical bills, but dental bills too. There's a lot of state protections against credit card, dental, dentist office signups. If you go to a dentist office and you see in like the corner of the office a little sign that says care credit, or some sort of like credit card program, they may very well sign you up for a credit card. There's a lot of things in place in the law that's the dentist has to make sure they check before they legally sign you up for a credit card. But medical billing can sometimes be an issue for some of our clients too. Hospital bills, physician bills, etc. We are the Medicare and Medi-Cal Ombuds Program Service Provider. We assist what we call dual eligibles. So those folks who either have or are eligible for both Medicare and Medi-Cal. So if you happen to have both and you need some help in navigating between these two programs, give us a call. These two, this is the California, I should put here, California Department of Managed Healthcare. They are the state agency in charge of regulating most California health plans. And they're what we consider like a level 2. These are the folks you're going to file a level 2 appeal. I hope you can read my chicken scratch here. So sometimes when you file an appeal with your health plan and they continue to deny your appeal, you do have a right to file a level 2 appeal, and some plans are regulated by this particular state agency, and we could help file those appeals. And I like to brag about this. We're a proud member of the Health Consumer Alliance. Those are other legal aids in other counties up and down the state, and who are doing exactly the same thing we're doing, but just in another county. We regularly meet, and we meet with DMHC on a regular basis. We meet with DHCS, the state agency that's in charge of Medi-Cal. So we have different forums to be able to bring up kind of issues that are happening. Issues that are happening in Orange County might be happening in Alameda County or in the Bay Area. And so we can bring some of those systemic issues to the state and say, hey, maybe this is happening up and down the state and we're not, aware of it. Let's see if there's a statewide fix that we can have. Some of our wins, we've assisted thousands of folks in making sure they get access to and maintain their Medi-Cal. Hundreds of folks kind of navigating between Medi-Cal and Covered California. Sometimes you get bounced back between these two programs, and there's sometimes glitches in the system or worker errors. So we hopefully are able to provide a smooth transition between these two programs. Medical equipment, durable medical equipment, DME. I've represented a client at a hearing where their health plan denied a power wheelchair. We filed an appeal, the health plan denied. We had to go to hearing, and then eventually the judge said, no, health plan, you really do need to provide this power wheelchair for this client. This is the client where we had a speech generating device that was approved for a nonverbal autistic child. We've represented, this was a client who had a lung tumor, and CalOptima had denied the lung tumor removal surgery, saying, hey, there's other forms of treatment that you could receive. We represented them at the hearing, and we were able to convince the judge, no, this particular type of tumor could only be treated with this particular surgery. So we were able to win at the hearing and represent them, and she was able to get that surgery. Okay. Yes, I want to proudly say that we've saved our clients over $1 million in improper medical and dental billing. And we participate in a ton of these outreach events and presentations on Know Your Rights to OC health consumers. Okay. All right. Any questions about our services before we dive in today about our topic of Medicare? And I'm okay with awkward silence. So I tend to not ask questions right away, and I hesitate, or I'm still thinking about the question. So I like to make sure I leave time and space for y'all. And we'll have a chance to ask questions at the end also, but feel free to interject and interrupt me on a slide and say, hey, what was that thing you said about that other slide? Feel free to interrupt. Okay, let's talk about Medicare eligibility, shall we? There's two general ways to get Medicare when we're talking about ages here. So it could be based on age. So if you're 65 and older, you can get Medicare. I'm not going to go into the details of Medicare credits, but typically for both of these folks, you're going to need what they call 40 work credits. We do have another presentation that goes into how to get Medicare if you don't have these work credits. But again, I can spend a whole other hour on that separate topic. But if you'd like us to come back and present on that topic, we can do it. But this is about 10 years of work, approximately. So assuming you have enough work credits, you can either get Medicare at 65 and older, or you can get it before you turn 65 if you have a disability. And I'm putting disability in quotes because it's a legal standard defined by Social Security, and it's not necessarily like the DMV saying, hey, you are disabled because you got a disabled placard. It's a 5-step legal process that's very complicated. So it's a pretty high standard. So I'm putting it in quotes because it's a very specific definition. Okay. So this is for Medicare based on age. So if you're 65 and older, the requirements are to be 65 and older, and you have to either be a US citizen or what Social Security describes as an alien who has been lawfully admitted for permanent residence. There's various categories on various immigration categories who fall within this definition. Again, that's a separate presentation. If y'all want us to come back and do that, we have a Medicare for immigrants presentation that does a deep dive into those requirements. But it also does require, if you are an alien who has been lawfully admitted for permanent residence, you also have to be residing in the US for 5 continuous years before you apply for the Medicare. And again, this 5 continuous years, there's kind of the deeper dive, the other topic we'll talk about exactly what that means. Okay, so this is for Medicare based on disability. So we're talking about those who are younger than 65. You're going to be looking at 2 groups. This is people with a disability. And again, this is a disability that's legally defined by Social Security. And the other category is for people who have end-stage renal disease. So typically for those who are on dialysis, the requirements are a little bit different for these different groups of folks. But these would be the 2 ways that you would be able to get Medicare based on a quote disability. Okay. All right. This is saying the same thing, but I'm a visual learner, and for me, it kind of helps to kind of branch this out visually. So if you're under the age of 65, we're talking about disability Medicare. If you are 65 and older, then we're talking about aged Medicare. For Social Security purposes, they kind of separate the 2. Okay. Any questions before we dive into the parts and all the letters that come with Medicare? Okay, if you do have a question, feel free to interrupt or write it down and we'll have a chance to chat about it at the end. Okay, I think of these as the many letters that come with Medicare. Let's go to each of these parts and then we'll talk about what each of these parts cover. It's important for you to know because either you or your loved one or eventually you will hopefully have Medicare coverage in the future. And it's important to know exactly what it covers and what it doesn't cover. So let's look at Part A. So we're looking at A. Think of A as hospital. Or what we call like emergency coverage, right? So it's typically going to cover the inpatient hospital stays. Part A also does cover your skilled nursing facility or what we call SNFs. So say, for example, you were hospitalized and then the hospital doctor said, hey, you know, it's probably not safe for you to return home just yet. You still need to, you know, get some therapy, some physical therapy, some speech therapy. So we're going to send you over to a skilled nursing facility. So all of these things are going to be covered by the Medicare Part A. Hospice also is included in Part A coverage and some home health. This does not include your regular day-to-day, month-to-month, quarter doctor visits or drug prescriptions. Those are the other parts, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so this is Part A. Think of it as hospital, emergency, nursing home, and hospice care. Okay. Part B. Part B is the everyday stuff. So when you have your, you know, regular outpatient appointments with your primary care physician or, you know, with your specialist, and you're going to the doctor's office or clinic, those appointments are going to be covered by Part B. So think of it as outpatient care. It also does include medical, durable medical equipment, what we call DME. Oof, that's supposed to be a D. Medical supplies, so things like, you know, oxygen supplies, respiratory supplies, wheelchairs, power wheelchairs, things of that nature. That would fall under Part B, B for boy. Okay, D is easy to remember because D for drugs. D, drugs. D, drugs. So prescription drugs. The way that Medicare works with your Part D coverage is you have to have a plan. You have to be enrolled in a Part D plan or a Part C plan in order to access your prescription drug coverage through Medicare. So these are going to be private insurance plans that are approved by Medicare. I skipped C because think of Part C as, this is an equation, some algebra here. It includes your Part A, it includes your Part B, and it includes your Part D. And that's going to be a Part C plan. A Part C plan is what we call Medicare Advantage or Medicare Advantage plans. I like to call them MAPs because I love to use acronyms. Oops, let's see, we'll call them MAPs. So essentially, it covers everything that original Medicare covers. So it covers everything in this column in A, it covers everything in this column in B, and it'll cover everything in this column for Part D. It will sometimes, to entice folks to enroll in a particular Medicare Advantage plan, they'll offer what they call these supplemental bonus benefits. So it'll include dental and vision, over the counter. These are things that are not covered by original Medicare. So essentially, if you have Medicare, you have two options. You have original Medicare, or you have a Part C Medicare Advantage plan enrollment. So you kind of have two enrollment options, and we'll talk about that in further detail in the next slide. Okay, any questions about the letters and the parts of Medicare? Okay, I'm going to move on, but again, feel free to ask.
I
Oh, yes,
apologize, Joan. A question just came up in the
yeah.
chat,
Okay, cool.
which is when they say traditional Medicare, does that include A, B, C, and D?
Yes, they'll call it original Medicare. Sometimes they'll call it traditional Medicare. Oh, goodness. One and the same. Yes. So we're talking about the letters. When we're talking about Part C or Medicare Advantage, typically you're not talking about the letters. It's just, you know, one plan that covers all of those letters.
Okay. So then traditional or original Medicare is A and B.
A, B, plus you always have the Part D.
Perfect.
So we'll let me go through the next slide because I think it visually will help folks out. Okay. Oh, maybe the next two slides. Okay. Let's talk about what original Medicare does not cover. Original Medicare, aka a traditional Medicare. A traditional or original Medicare does not cover these things. Again, most dental care. So unless you've had like some sort of car accident where you've broken your jaw and you need a doctor to do like jaw surgery, original Medicare doesn't cover like the cleanings, the fillings, things like that. They also do not include vision coverage, so no prescription glasses or contacts, does not cover dentures, does not cover cosmetic surgery. No one's going to cover cosmetic surgery, even a Medicare Advantage plan. Massage therapy is not covered. I know this is silly, but routine physical exams, they're typically, it may be billed a little bit differently with your primary care or your specialist, but technically this is not covered by original Medicare. but usually they're able to bill it and you still get these appointments with your doctors. Hearing aids, you're not going to get coverage through traditional or original Medicare. Long-term care, so this is like greater than 100 days. In a SNF, which is a nursing home, skilled nursing facility. That's what they mean by kind of long-term. Concierge care, basically, it's like, do you have like a care coordinator or somebody to be able to kind of make sure you're getting the care that you need? You're not getting that with original Medicare. Covered, what are these? Covered items or services you can opt out from an opt-out. So yes, to access original Medicare, you have to make sure you're going to a doctor who takes and contracts with and accepts original Medicare. If you don't, then you're going to be paying 100% out of pocket. So keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the enrollment options, kind of going to answering the question we had earlier. So enrollment options this is for Medicare only folks. So I'm not talking about those who have both Medi-Cal and Medicare. These are folks who only have Medicare. So Medicare only folks, you basically have two ways to get your Medicare benefits. You can, again, we talked about this before, you can have original Medicare, AKA traditional Medicare. Traditional. Sorry, I'm attempting to write this with my mouse. Okay, traditional Medicare, again, you're using the letters. You have your Part A, your Part B, and your Part D for your drugs, and this is going to be with a plan. And then some folks, because we typically assist low-income individuals, a lot of our clients don't have Medigap, but you may be eligible for Medigap plans. Medigap plans do have a cost, a monthly premium. So you may be eligible to get Medigap in addition to, or to supplement your original Medicare. So this is one way. The other way to get your Medicare would be a Part C plan. Again, that equation that we had, the Part C combines the hospital, the A, the outpatient stuff and the medical equipment, that's B, and then D for the drugs. And then the extras that they throw in, like dental, vision. So 2 ways to get Medicare. Original Medicare, AKA traditional Medicare, or Part C Medicare Advantage plan. If you watch daytime television at all, there's a ton of ads that are that you're being bombarded with from various Medicare Advantage plans. So various insurance companies that offer a Medicare MA plan, a Part C plan, because they want to have you enroll. And yes, so we'll talk about a little bit more on this. This is saying the same thing, but kind of in a different visual format. Again, you have 2 enrollment options for a Medicare only folks. Again, not for those who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal, but for those who only have Medicare. Your option 1 is to have original Medicare, and that's your paper red, white, and blue card that you have. The paper red, white, and blue card with the eagle in the corner, that's your original Medicare card. And then to access your drug coverage, you're always going to enroll into a drug plan. This SilverScript happens to be a plan that I see a lot of our clients use, but it could be any drug plan that's offered in Orange County. So technically, when you have original Medicare, to access all of your services, you technically have 2 cards. So make sure, when you're at the pharmacy, you're showing your Part D card. When you go into the doctor or the hospital, you're showing your original Medicare card. For those who are enrolled into a Medicare Advantage plan, AKA Part C plan, again, the math of the A plus the B plus the D, you're going to just show 1 card because that 1 plan will cover all of your services in one. And this just happens to be one of many Medicare Advantage plans that are offered in Orange County, the AARP United Healthcare. But this is just an example. Okay. I'm not going to go through this because this is really intense, but just refer to it if you need to in the future. These are for our duals. So duals meaning you have both the Medicare and the Medi-Cal. There's, in Orange County, you have theoretically 7 different types or 7 scenarios of enrollment options. And I'm not going to go through it because it's kind of intense, but please feel free to refer to this slide in the future. Or if you happen to be someone who has Medicare and Medi-Cal and this slide doesn't make sense, just give us a call and we'll hopefully able to sort you out and make it sense for you. Okay, I'm gonna skip this. This is for our Medi-Cal folks. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that for now. Okay, let's talk about the pros and cons of Medicare Advantage plan. So AKA the Part C, right? This is Part C. Again, the equation being A plus B plus D for drugs. Ooh, that's supposed to be a D. Okay. All right, so there's definitely pros and cons. So I'm not trying to convince you of enrolling into original Medicare or enrolling into a Medicare Advantage plan. My job is to make sure y'all make informed decisions and you know the pros and cons, but ultimately it's up to you to make these decisions for you and your family. What is best for you? And it can, you know, differ from family to family, Medicare beneficiary to Medicare beneficiary. So some of the pros of enrolling into a Medicare Advantage plan is there typically will be a limit on out-of-pocket expenses. Another pro is that, again, it consolidates it all in one, right? We have this whole equation where it's all in one plan, one card. Another pro is that it will typically offer kind of bonus benefits. I've seen some Medicare Advantage plan offer like gym memberships and gym access. It'll also include the vision and the dental benefits that original Medicare does not cover. But there's also a con. There's cons to being restricted to doctors within the Medicare Advantage plan's network. So, you know, if you are currently seeing a doctor and you just recently became eligible for Medicare, and you're thinking about enrolling into AARP's Medicare Advantage plan, but the doctor who you love and want to continue seeing doesn't actually contract with AARP Medicare Advantage plan, you're not going to be able to see that doctor anymore. So, you know, you have to kind of pick and choose and see which doctors you love and you want to continue seeing and ask them perhaps, you know, which Medicare plans do you take so that you can kind of plan accordingly once you're Medicare eligible. But again, the con could be you're limited to seeing only the doctors within the Medicare Advantage plan's network of doctors. Another con is the plans can differ from county to county. So if you do move, you know, your plan in Orange County that you had for years and you move to LA County may not be offered in LA County. There's a handful of them that aren't, but typically Orange County and LA County, they tend to offer the same plans, but there are exceptions. And also keep in mind with Medicare Advantage plans, the coverage can change every year. So 1 year, your very specific medication that you're taking can be covered, and then the following year they can take it off their formulary list and say, hey, we're no longer going to cover this drug that you've been taking for years. So they kind of have that right to change what their coverage is year to year. And then con, some, not usually, but some plans do require you to pay an additional premium beyond the $185 that you're currently paying for the Part B. It's for the Part B. So sometimes you're going to be paying the $185 and then some with some of these health plans, depending on if it's an HMO, a PPO, or like something that offers a little bit more, you might have to pay more each month in your premiums. Okay, referrals, typically our office will be able to provide some basic Medicare enrollment information, the stuff that we just talked about today. But the wonderful thing about having Medicare is that you have a high cap program a HICAP office in every county in the country that provides free independent Medicare counseling. So HICAP counselors can literally type in all the medications that you're taking, and then it'll spit out all the Medicare Advantage plans or the Part D plans that currently cover your medications that you're taking at this time. So they can provide you really individual guidance on how to what your options are for Medicare. And to reach us, you're going to call our hotline. And I believe the automated menu, you press 3 to get to our health unit. You're going to be connected to Vanessa, our intake paralegal, who's super nice and friendly and will be super kind and patient with you. But she's going to ask a lot of questions because we have a lot of questions in our intake. And during off hours, you can access our online intake on our website. Oh. Here are other specific Know Your Rights presentation topics. So I know that we're coming back to present on some of these other topics, but if there are other topics that y'all are interested in and me coming back on and presenting on, let me know, put it in the chat, and we can talk about it. Okay, this is it. Any questions, any comments, any concerns? And if you want me to go back to another slide, let me know.
Joan, I had a question. I heard you mention, so currently the amount that is deducted is $180 for Medicare.
This is for the Part B. Assuming you have free Part A, again, there's a whole presentation on that alone. But this is typically what you're paying for when you have Medicare. No matter what, if you have Medicare, original Medicare, or if you're enrolled into a Medicare Advantage plan, you're at a minimum paying the $185 per month. So you can't escape you cannot escape the $185, whether you're in an MA plan or original Medicare. Yes, it goes up every year. Every once in a while it'll decrease, but this is currently the 2025. This is per month. Oops. There we go. If you need me to rewrite something, let me know, and I can do that.
I like all the artwork.
Yes. It looks like a child wrote it, but yes.
No, you're doing great. And then I see a couple comments. They're not questions, but just some suggestions for future webinars. And I'm not sure if this is something that Community Legal Aid would cover or not, but if it is, we definitely can discuss getting something on the schedule. But someone wrote maybe next webinar could be about advanced healthcare directives and topics about probate conservatorship.
Yes. I can do advanced healthcare directives and like health power of attorneys, but conservatorship, we don't handle in the health unit, but our seniors unit does. So I can reach out to our seniors unit. Rachel, let me know, and then we can set that up. I can do two separate presentations of those topics.
Wonderful. And then just for that person who also inquired about that too, is I would say look at our schedule that's coming up as well. We will be doing an in-person legal clinic that's all about advanced healthcare directives, power of attorney, and some other things, but it will be in September and it will be in person with another entity that serves Orange County as well. And so I see another person has a question there, but so for the first one, check our calendar. We're always adding new things, always trying to make sure that we have support for estate planning and some of those more hard to access resources and services. But either way, Joan, we'd love to have something with you and other people on your team. Everyone at Legal Aid has been so incredibly helpful, and our clients have just had such good feedback. And then I see another question. How much does it cost for the legal services?
No charge. Yeah, we're a nonprofit law office. We don't charge for our services. Typically what we do, we're not like going to court and doing like court filings. But if you did receive any of our other legal services with that have like a filing fee. Typically that's going to be paid by you. However, you might be eligible for a fee waiver. But any sort of like filing fees, again, will be out of your pocket, but the legal services themselves are free. Or like in our health unit, if you need medical records and you have to pay, like a copying fee to get access to your hospital records, that's something typically our office will not cover. Yeah. So, but for the services themselves, free.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any other questions or any other topics that anyone is interested in? But also, again, if there's any questions for Joan, she is a wealth of knowledge. And so we can give it a couple minutes to see if anything else comes up. And then I'll also let you share about the survey that I see there on the screen.
Yes, an optional survey. We always want to improve on these presentations. So if there's something that, I failed to do or even nice feedback too, whatever you like. What we do have a presentation survey. You could pull out your phones and scan the QR code. Completely optional.
Wonderful. And I can send that link out, the forms link as well with the slides. And someone else had asked if you have a flyer that explains services offered that can be shared with patients and families. I believe that you've sent me some of those things in the past, Joan, so I'll double check. But when I send out the slides, I'll be sure to include the forms link and some other resources as well that have been discussed during the presentation this afternoon.
Yeah, we have brochures, like PDF brochures, if that's going to be helpful for you, Rachel, and I could send those. I don't know
Yeah,
if I have
please.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, please. We'll take any resources and that way we can have them readily available to send out.
Yes.
Any other questions from anyone here today? Or if not, we can go ahead and close out a little bit early. But again, just want to give everyone the opportunity to ask any questions that they might have.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Um, so I was not planning. I just was thinking this was about Medicare, but you offer free legal services. Does that work with estate planning as well?
I think we'd be able, at a bare minimum, give you some counsel and advice, some legal advice over the phone. But
Okay.
unfortunately, our office does not have estate planning attorneys on staff. But if you have like a specific question, or we can give you some general legal advice in that area. But unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to assist with
No.
preparing a
Okay.
trust or preparing a will, things like that.
My mom had already redid her trust,
Mhm.
but the lawyer, and she had a independent lawyer as well, verify her wishes because there's probably going to be contention or a contest her wishes. And so they're the lawyers are saying for her to um share the restatement of the trust with her children, and that gives them 30 days to contest it. So I don't know if that's too specific.
That's outside of my scope. Yeah, I honestly, I'm not sure if that's something we'd be able to provide legal counsel on. Usually our bare minimum is we give you some legal advice over the phone, but in that area, I'm not even sure because that seems quite specific. I don't think it
Okay.
hurts to call our hotline. And at a bare minimum, if we're not able to answer the question, you'll get a referral to perhaps an agency or maybe even to the lawyer referral service for a private attorney to perhaps answer that. So
Okay, great.
yeah, call because you never
I
know.
will. Thank you
Mhm.
very much. I appreciate it.
And,
Of
and then
course.
just to add on to that too, I'll send out another resource that does have fee for service. It's not free, but it is designed to work with people who maybe can't afford a full attorney fee just out of pocket. And so it's for people who kind of fall in the middle. So I'll send that resource out as well. And then if you are a family caregiver and you provide care for a loved one, just so everyone on the call is aware, one of the services that we do offer is grants to cover legal consultations, and we can assist with the cost of estate planning if you, again, are a caregiver and qualify for that type of grant. So if that's the case, please do reach out to us as well. But I will go ahead and email out some additional resources on elder law specialists and estate planning that are a bit more affordable than going full private attorney if that's not feasible for your situation.
That's awesome. Can you share that with us too?
Absolutely. The more the merrier. You know, the
Right.
more we can support each other and connect each other and serve is really always the goal.
Absolutely. Sharing is caring, everyone.
There you go. Any other questions from anyone? As I see the comment, please share the information about the grant for caregivers, estate planning on your email. Absolutely, I will. And then you've gotten a few thank yous, by the way, Joan, for the information.
You're welcome. I'm happy to help.
Yeah. Well, and again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here, participating and learning more about Medicare. It is complicated. There is a whole other alphabet that I didn't know existed when it comes to Medicare. And so I appreciate you, Joan, taking the time to explain more about A, B, C, D, and all the different letters. I learn something new every time I get on a call with you. So we really appreciate it. And if any other questions do come up, again, I will be emailing out information and also both Joan's survey, and then once you log off the call this afternoon, there'll be a very brief survey that pops up for us as well. And any other questions that you might think of, feel free to enter them there, and I can send them towards Joan and the other folks at Community Legal Aid. But with that, thank you so much, Joan, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope that you all have a wonderful afternoon. And going back to that 50 ways to take a break, please do something kind for yourself today to recharge your batteries and refill your cup. And with that, have a good afternoon. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Take
everyone.
care. Take care,
Have a
everyone.
Tuesday.